Hello and welcome. Gonna give it a couple minutes here, let people come on in. I see people joining now. Welcome, 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 welcome. Seeing lots of people entering. Mateo, how is it up in Canada? BC. Getting the finger.
Or was this? Yeah, sorry, I was mute and I was blurring my background. So out here in BC, we have had quite a warm weather for being such North Point. So far up north, but we've been hitting about 34 Celsius. I know, for what is that in Fahrenheit for our friends in is that over 100, 120? I don't know.
Something like that.
Something like that.
Well, we're going to get started. I saw a bunch of people join, so, we can just jump into it. Those who may have joined late, we will be sending the recording. Want to get that out of the way. If you'd like to ask any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. You can also use the Q&A feature to ask your questions. We'll be addressing some as we go, but really at the end is where we're going to take most of the questions. So happy to see a lot of familiar names in here. I'm curious to know where everyone's calling in from. I always love doing these Zoom webinars, especially with our partners, because I see people, messaging in from all over the world. So maybe, if you're interested, just throw in, in the chat, listening in from wherever, Texas, Canada, BC, Washington, DC, I don't know. But anyway, we might as well just jump into it. So Jared, why don't you go to the next slide here? And we've got, so myself, I'm here. I haven't been involved in the creation of this product. So I'm Jimmy Hatzel. I'm the VP of Revenue here. This is something that I've been really, really excited about. But this webinar, especially, I've been really excited about because I get a chance to really ask these guys questions. So we have Mateo and Robbie. Mateo is our CEO and co-founder of QuickPass. Robbie's our head of product. I'm going to be grilling them today because I want to, I probably have as much questions as everyone in the audience. But Mateo, why don't you just take a second to introduce yourself, and then Robbie, you as well.
Sure. Yeah. I'm Mateo, co-founder and CEO of QuickPass. And together we have put together a few people. Robbie from our product team, head of product, and then Jared is hosting us. And what we want to show you essentially today is ConnectWise control injection. Very exciting feature, not only on its own, but it's also, as you will see, a platform for a lot of very interesting things that we're about to come up in the very near future. So, Robbie, you want to say hello?
Yeah. Hey, everyone. I'm Robbie. I lead the product at QuickPass. I joined the team around 3 months back. I'm new to this space, but I've been diving in for the last 3 months, learning a lot. And this is one of the things that I worked on when I joined. So I am really excited about this, and I'm looking forward to working with you all and build more interesting products.
Thanks, Robbie. And congratulations to you. I know that our engineering team, our product team, QA, all of that has really grown recently. You've been doing a lot. So Mateo and Robbie, I assure that both of these guys have been very, very hard at work to put out the best product for all of you on the webinar here. But we're all here to see what it looks like. We want to get a look. So Robbie, why don't we just jump right in, start demoing it. I might stop you and ask you some questions along the way. I'm sure the audience might have a question or two, but let's just go for it.
Awesome. So I will break it into two pieces. First is how to set up the integration. This would be a one-time setup. You would not need to go through this process every time. Once you set it up, it's all ready. And the second piece would be then showing you how the credential injection work day to day. So I'll start sharing my screen and walk you through it. Okay, I hope you see my screen. So the first step, the first piece is setting up the integration. So there are a few pieces to that I'll show. As you can see, I'm logged into my admin dashboard. If I go to the integration section here, you will notice a new card here, ConnectWise Control Beta. This is a beta launch we did this week, and we're looking for feedback on this one. So I'll walk you through how it works. The very first step for you would be to complete this integration here. And that's very easy. You go to the integrations. Any super primary or manager role would be able to do that.
Hey, Robbie, I have a question for you. Sorry to cut you off here, but does anyone need to request anything? Like, do you need this turned on in your account to get access to the beta feature, or can anyone start using this?
No, so, and it's open to everyone. It's beta because it's our initial release, and it may change a lot as we learn more, but there is no restriction. The only restriction is the access you have. So I believe the admin users, so the primary, super, and manager level would be able to enable or disable the integration.
Gotcha. So anyone with QGuard can start using this, testing it today. Great.
Yes. Okay, so here is where we request for your ConnectWise control portal URL. So I will type ours in. This will be different for different tenants. And so you put the URL in and then you hit connect and you will see a success banner and the page will refresh and you'll see the integration is now enabled for your account. If you go to the events, we also log an event for integration being enabled for the audit log, and that will capture the necessary information, who set up the integration, what date and time, what was the URL that was configured. Similarly, if you disconnected, we'll log the event again. So that's the first step. That's for setting up, enabling the integration. Let's go on to the second one, which is, as you'll notice, we also release our desktop app, the first version of that with ConnectWise. And as Matteo was saying, it's going to be a base for a lot of the features we build in the future. So the next step for you would be to download the desktop app. And there's a link on the admin dashboard. You would click on that, and that will give you an installer for the desktop app. It's pretty easy installation, no additional information needed through the installation. So you can just hit the run and install it. I already have it installed on my device. So I'll just minimize this window and let's show you how that works. So I double click and that opens up my, sorry, let's try again.
And quick update here. It looks like the chat function was disabled for this. So just ask your questions in the Q&A box. I see them rolling in. We will get to all of these questions. So apologize for that. Just use the Q&A function.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I'm going to log into the same tenant that I was logged in on the web app. And here I am using email and password, but if you have SSO enabled, the desktop app also supports that. So once you type in your email, if SSO is enabled, it's directly going to take you to the SSO provider to finish the authentication and then log you into the desktop app. So I'll quickly go over, hit enter. So this is the desktop app. This is the landing page.
Actually, Robbie, do you mind if I jump into a couple of these questions that came in?
Yeah.
I just want to try to answer some as we go. So 2 people have asked if this will work for self-hosted ConnectWise control. I know that your team, your team has released this as a beta release. We are taking requests and feedback. And so why don't you address that question right off the bat?
Yeah, so we have already hit, that's probably the #1 request we're getting right now. Would it work for the self-hosted on-premise or on-premise version? We are We're testing that. I think very quickly we will be able to support that. So just wait out for announcement. But from what we have learned, the self-hosted version is exactly the same as the cloud version. It's just hosted by you on your own URL. So yeah, that's coming very soon.
And then the other question was about Mac support. Perhaps you could address that and why it's built on Windows.
Good question. So as I said, it's beta. It's our first release. Most of our partners are majority text Windows users, so that was the reason for starting with the Windows. But again, as this evolves, it is on our list in general for a lot of our products to work with the Macs as well.
There's also so we've run into an issue that was a limitation from ConnectWise. Last we checked, ConnectWise, the ConnectWise plugin that you use on the RMM piece, the ConnectWise control, it's lagging quite behind from the capabilities that what you can do with a plugin in the Windows environment. So I don't know if that has changed in the past 6 months, but initially when we did a feasibility test, it almost seemed to us as if ConnectWise had abandoned the plugin support for the Mac side of things for the RMM. So that, again, that may have changed. We haven't revisited that, but it was mainly a limitation from the ConnectWise side. But if they have fixed that, happy to explore that.
Thanks, guys. Okay. Robbie, why don't you jump back in?
Yeah, so this is the portal URL that you configured. It's available in the desktop app. I will quickly log into that. If you have OTP or 2FA enabled, you will need to do that as well. I have that configured for my tenant, so I'll quickly put that in. And yeah, so that's how the logged in state, and this is where you get access to all your remote machines that you're managing through ConnectWise Control. And from here, there's one little step left for the integration, but basically we're almost done. And now it's just initiating those sessions and injecting the credentials that I'll show you next. Before I go there, I'm going to show you the last step that you need. So again, any admin on ConnectWise Control need to enable our helper extension. So if you go to admin and then go to extensions, you can go to marketplace and search for QuickPass extension and install it. It's again a one-time step that you need to do, and the next time you log in, you will not need to do that. And then once you install that, it's going to show up in your extensions list here, like I've enabled QuickPass. So with that, so we're done with the integration. So you enable the integration, you download the desktop app, you enable the integration extension in ConnectWise Control. And now let's get to the interesting part, like how the injection works. So for that, I would go to the few devices I have. If I go back to my Chrome, I want to show you that I'm using Hoodoo. So if I go to integrations, I'm using Hoodoo with QuickPass. So all my passwords are actually stored into Hoodoo Vault. I can see those accounts within QuickPass. So that's just what I wanted to show to explain where the passwords are actually coming from.
Robbie, you mind if I take some questions here? We had a couple on SSO. What types of SSO are supported? Someone had specifically asked if it supports ConnectWise SSO.
Matteo, do you want to take that?
Yeah. So so we the type of SSO, I think we support SAML. We for sure we support SAML if that's what they're asking. OAuth, I don't know that we support OAuth quite yet, but all the major providers I think have, like Okta and the identity providers, they have
at least SAML support. So
like Microsoft would,
yeah.
Someone else asked about Microsoft.
Yeah, Microsoft, all those guys, the protocol underneath that is SAML. And I think people like Okta, they support both. The newer one, which is OAuth, but SAML is kind of the common denominator among SSOs. So I would be surprised if it doesn't cover most of the providers, which should have the SAML one.
Yeah, and great.
And that's an important point, right? Because one of the decisions that we took about having a separate, we didn't take lightly the fact that we had to install a separate application. And the reason for that is we wanted to provide first to market, complete and true SSO without the need of any master passphrase like other products that are out there. So with our product, for the first time, you can actually use SSO to authenticate into QuickPass to select the customers. So that, and there's another reason that the app, like we said earlier, is the foundations for a lot of very exciting features such as just-in-time credential creation, session recording that we're working on. But in relation to this SSO, that's the main reason. The ConnectWise control plugin does not allow you to do a redirect into it, unfortunately. So that's where the concept of a separate app came about.
Great. And then Robbie, just to go back a second, two people had asked about the installer. So if you could potentially, or we could do this at the end if you had already closed it, just show where the installer is, how you can get to it in the QuickPass menu in the client or in the browser, and then what permissions they might need to make sure that the installer is visible there.
Mm-hmm. I'll quickly show where the installer is. If we have at the end, we can try uninstalling, reinstalling. But basically, you go to the admin dashboard if you are in the customers list. And then at the bottom, we have a few links. It's the same place where you now download the server agent. There's another option there for the desktop app. So once you click there, that will give you the installer. In future, we will also provide a direct link to download the latest version of the desktop app. So then you'll be able to even through scripts, get access to the app and download in your remote machines. So for now, log into the admin dashboard and download it from this lower left corner.
Great. And then there was a couple questions I'm going to combine into one. You mentioned on this demo you're about to give, you're going to be pulling the passwords from Hoodoo. People were asking if it will also be available in IT Glue. And then they were asking if QuickPass is storing the passwords. And so maybe talk about the difference between IT Glue, Hoodoo, RVault, and the compatibility here.
Yeah, good question. So we support Hoodoo and IT Glue as the external documentation platforms where you may have your passwords stored. In that case, we do not store the passwords on QuickPass side. We do have a link to the entries within Hoodoo. The third option, so we support both. If your passwords are supported in Hoodoo IT Glue, you can use credential injection. And that's probably one of the benefits where the technician doesn't need to have access to Hoodoo. As long as they have access to QuickPass, they can inject credentials without even knowing what the credentials are, the passwords. So we support Hoodoo, IT Glue, very similar. The third option is our QuickPass password manager. So if you are using that, then in that case, we can also access passwords from there. But yeah, so what if you're using IT Glue or Hoodoo, we do not have access to the passwords, but that works with the injection.
Great. And then one more question before we move on. People had asked, and perhaps it could be something in a future release or something, about being able to resize the window of the QuickPass app. So, I wanted to give you a chance to address that.
Yeah. Robert, do you mind if I kind of address that. So some of the feedback that we have taken is that it seems that it was, we are breaking the flow of technicians by not allowing them to be able to spin off RMM remote control windows from the browser itself. So we have the first incremental release that we're working on. We're doing some R&D on removing the list of sessions of ConnectWise from within our app. So, and give it back to the browser. So you're able to start a session from the browser. And my understanding is ConnectWise has other ways to actually start ConnectWise control screens. So we're looking into removing that and make it more generic. So you guys, the technicians, can actually work from the way they're used to spin up those controls. So, I mean, the question about resizing, we're hopefully are close to, yeah, exactly that screen that you see right there. So our engineers are hard at work right now trying to find a solution for this. And yeah, and the reason, so the reason behind this, there's also another reason that I want to highlight, right? One of the purposes of this tool was not only convenience of injection of credentials into the remote window like Robbie's about to show you, but pay attention, notice that we also work on obfuscation of the password field from the technicians. Now, sure, some of the passwords might be rotated, but there are passwords that are gonna stay, they're gonna have a longer shelf life and are going to be shared between technicians. So we are the only ones on the market that do credential injection with ConnectWise control and are able to obfuscate that password field from a technician clicking on that eye icon and actually revealing the password, right? Depending on your appetite, I can go into the minutiae of details, technical details, how we achieve that. But this is yet another reason why we wanted to have a separate EXE or application that is able to quickly inject that password and then send those credentials without giving a chance at all to the technician to see it, right? So I know it's a bit of a tangent, but I think it covered a couple of things. Hopefully that people understand that, and once they see it in action, they'll be able to visualize it.
Great. Why don't we get into it then? You can stop peppering Robbie with questions for a couple of minutes.
The ability to resize it is on our list. We've heard. We're working on that. Yeah. So let's go into how you start the session and inject.
Hopefully we don't have to resize it. That was my point. So, hopefully this goes away, but if it doesn't, we'll resize it for sure.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to open. So other things. So we support passwords in IT Glue, Hoodoo, QuickPass Password Manager, but otherwise we support local accounts that you can log into or Active Directory or Office 365. So I'm going to open this remote workstation. So I select the machine and I hit join. That opens the Screen Connect session here. For the first time, I would recommend pinning this on the side. So it's always there and it's always working, the helper extension. This is the extension we installed from the admin part of the ConnectWise. So I've opened the machine. I send Control-Alt-Delete. Now I need to inject credentials, and it's as easy as selecting the machine, selecting which customer that is for, and that would give you access to all your accounts. This would be based on your access level, so which customers you have access to or not based on your login. And then from there, I just select the account and hit autofill, and that would inject the credentials and log me into the machines. Actually, this is a PC1, which is a local machine. So I would need to select another account this QP sync for PC1 and hit autofill. So let's go back there. Oh, wait a second. Yeah, so that's easy. So you select the machine, select the credentials, and hit autofill. Let's open another one, say a domain controller. Very quickly, I can select another machine, hit join. That's going to open another machine for me. Again, I would click on get to the login page, select the machine, the domain controller in this case, and then see which account I have. This is an Active Directory joined account. So I click on autofill, and that logs me into that machine. So very quickly, I'm able to open any machine, select the credentials, and log into that. So that's how, at a high level, like that's how the experience is. And this is better because otherwise the alternative is you using it in the browser, but having a Hoodoo tab open and then potentially copy pasting the credentials from there into. So if you're doing this many times a day, it will be saving you time.
Now, Robbie, so what you were saying earlier, the password that's actually typed is hidden when it's logging in. Is that what you were saying before? Like the technician isn't able to access it? It's
not hidden. We automatically log you in, so they don't need to go click on the enter and then even have an option to view the password. So what we would do is we would send the credentials, but then also directly get you in. So you'll either, if you're entering wrong, then get incorrect password, or if it's correct, you're going to get logged in.
Gotcha. And then, so what if it's not an active account? Like say, we'll type in the username too. Like say you need to log in someone that's not already logged in, or the most recent login.
Yeah, that's a good question. So if I go to other user, so it is smart enough to know if the login is already user is selected, it's just going to enter password. If I go to other user, so this is PC1, so let's select PC1. And for PC1, I have this admin1. And then if I hit autofill, it's going to, you will notice, enter the username and the password. So if you, so you can either join an existing selected user or go to a new user. It will work both ways.
Great, thank you.
Other thing you notice, if it's a joint system, but you want to use local accounts, then it will append the // so it logs in with the local account. So it's taking care of all those things.
Can you define what passwords are available for which users, like through security groups in either IT or the QuickPass Vault?
Oh, I'm not sure I totally understand. Can you rephrase?
Yes, just can you segment access to passwords based on either tenant or availability per technician, like you would like in the QuickPass Vault, how you can, certain users don't have access to everything. Will it carry those same settings over to this?
Yeah. So you're using the same account for logging into desktop and the desktop app. So every account you had access to within the admin dashboard, you will also get access in the desktop app. If you were restricted to not have access to some customers, you will not have the credentials within the desktop app for those customers. And so there are other ways you can, within login management, manage that access level. We have group management where you can create groups and have groups access specific passwords, or you can limit a technician to only have access to subset of customers. So the login management or access to the passwords work the same way as in the admin dashboard right now.
Great. And then we had a question about if this is working through Automate. So does it work with Control when Control is being used through Automate, currently or future?
Yeah, so that's the other thing we're aware of. We started with just the cloud hosted version of ConnectWise Control. Next, we're exploring the on-premise or hosted version of ConnectWise Control. We also know you can use ConnectWise Control through ConnectWise Automate. So that is on our list, and we'll try to support that in the near future.
Great. And then just, can you clarify on the helper, does it need to be pinned for the app to work, or?
Yeah, it needs to be pinned. So in the very beginning, when you go for the first time, you will notice something like this. So then you would click on this plus icon and select Quick Pass and pin it on the side. And then going forward every day, it will be pinned for you. So it's, again, one of the one-time steps that you need to do, but otherwise seamless after that.
Great. Thanks, Robbie.
Other thing I wanted to show, I think benefit of doing it through injection is Audit Log. So if I go to events, I would see all the injections that happened. And if I click on one of those, you will notice this is an Active Directory account. So we're not capturing a computer name, but otherwise who accessed the account at what date and time. It is a ConnectWise Control. In future, we'll support other remote tools as well. So it's keeping a log of all the injections that are happening. This, for example, is a local account. So you'll see Robbie1 access the local account at this date and time, and we capture the computer name. So we're keeping a log of all the injections that also happened through the desktop app. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. As I said, you can log in you can just basically open a machine and inject the credentials. And a few things you mentioned are already on our list. And as we release the next versions of this, we'll keep you all posted on what we're adding and the new supports we're doing. Great.
Robbie, why don't I guess you can stop sharing here. We can take some more questions. So a couple more come in. Again, to reiterate, this is a beta release, and we want to give initial access, take feedback. We are incorporating the changes, and we are going to be doing future releases with more features. So we love these questions coming in. Robbie's made himself available to everyone, and he's very frequently sent his email out. If people want to connect or have suggestions or something. We do take our Canny board very seriously as well. If you don't have access to that, maybe Robbie, you can just refresh people's memory on what that is.
Yeah, there are a few ways to reach out to us. My email is robbie@getquickpass.com. So you can email me anytime with your request, or support@getquickpass.com. Our support team is very quick to reach out as well. Within the app, again, if I go there, the position where you download the desktop app, there's also a feature request button. If you click that, it's going to take you to our public roadmap. And from here, you can also submit a request, or if you see it already there, you can upvote it. And we actively look at this every day and prioritize our roadmap. So this is not going to waste.
Great. Yeah, so a couple more questions I'll go through. More specific questions. When you search for credentials, is it looking for display name, or is it searching for other things as well?
Yeah, so right now in this initial release, it's looking through the display name. You have also an option to scroll through all the credentials and directly search for those, directly find those. However, in our next release, we'll add support for indexing usernames, computer names, and potentially even recommending based on what machine you have open. Maybe we can smartly suggest what credential should match there. So to start with, it's just a search through display name, but we'll index everything in future.
Great. And then for logging, what type of logging is happening when someone's injecting credentials or accessing them? And then are there any future plans to expand that if just in general?
Yeah, so if I go to the events, so there's a logging about enabling, disabling of the integration. And then whenever a credential injection happens, if it's a successful or failed injection, you will log that. And I saw some comments about adding additional, capturing additional information in the log, so I will note that. But otherwise, it's gonna capture the account type, so local Office 365 or 80 account, who accessed it, that's the login of the user, and other information about what was the customer and what was the date time. I think we already have a, yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, and I was going to say the ultimate event login, it's going to be the session recording, which we should have before the end of this year, implemented on release. So you're going, not only you're going to have a list of events that has happened, but you're also going to get a recording of the actual session of the technician and what they did within that session as well.
Wow, that's great. Thanks, Mateo. Could you also speak about just like future integrations? Someone asked specifically about N Central's Take Control, but maybe generally speaking, or even specific, what we might be able to expect in the near distant future?
I think in the very, very near future, we're addressing the few things we discussed. How can we make it to support sessions, ConnectWise control session triggered from anywhere, browser, self-hosted version, ConnectWise automate. First, really flesh out the ConnectWise control integration. Then the future plans are to also support other remote session tools like maybe Dado, RMM. So that's how we will go. But very immediately focus on ConnectWise control and support all the ways our partners use ConnectWise.
Yeah, and the only thing I'll add to that is we have already split out the team, the engineering team. They're already looking into data, and there's another team that is continue to support and evolve the ConnectWise injection. So we're kind of trying to do this in parallel as well.
Great. And then for the window, someone had asked if there's the ability to show like known logins in the helper window versus the secondary app versus the QuickPass app. So maybe you could talk a little bit more about like why the helper window is the way it is and what the functionality is there and what people can expect.
It can change, but what I'm saying is initially our idea is to, I think other thing to share is that the helper window is very restricted. It's, I think, built on IE8. So it's a lot of restrictions about what kind of experience we can create there. So our initial plan is to add as much in the desktop app. But in terms of logging, maybe you can elaborate on what exactly. I'm assuming the login for the accounts or login for the technicians who accessed it. Because the technicians, that is captured in our event logs. So you will notice, other important event that we log is the login to the desktop app. So if a technician logs into the desktop app, we will also log an event for that. So you'll know who accessed the desktop app. And then every injection they do, there will be an event in the admin dashboard. But if you can share more details with me on what exactly you're looking for, I'll definitely look into that.
Great. And is there a way to assign a credential to a connection to be used by default? They mentioned also that ConnectWise has a little pop-up that you can automatically fill in assigned credentials for a connection. So maybe something similar to that or even that.
Yeah, that is on my mind, at least. I think for the local accounts, we have a machine associated with the login. So that would be easier for us to know if you have a specific machine open and we have that information. Right now, it's not doing all the recommendation and smart suggestions. It's through the search, but in future, we'll we'll definitely try to make it like as seamless as possible, so you don't even need to find the credentials.
Great. And then Robbie, I want to answer every question here. So we had one final on, we had mentioned Datto before. They had a question about the Autotask integration. I believe they're talking about the PSA integration for Qdesk. Any timeline or any update you can give on that?
So it is work in progress right now. So that's what I can share. We have spec'd it out. Our engineering team is working on it. You'll see a few releases big releases from us in the near future. So you'll then know all the things we've been working on. For Datto Autotask, it's in plans. And you can expect it in maybe say 2 months. I don't hold me to that, but that's the tentatively plan that we are working on that, and that will come out very soon.
Yeah, a lot of the work. This is for the PSA part of it, right, Jimmy? They're asking, yeah. So a lot of the work, like the engineering heavy lifting, has been done already for the ConnectWise PSA. So there is a lot we can leverage. So we hope it's not going to take us as long to release a version for Datto like it took us for ConnectWise PSA. So yeah, 2 months would be an accurate. I would say, hopefully less. I'm a positive guy, but it might, between QA cycles and stuff like that, it might end up in 2 months.
Yeah. Well, thank you for addressing that. Everyone, like I'm looking back at the thing. We had 25 questions come in over the course of 42 minutes, which is great, really awesome. I can't stress enough how much we love getting feedback, getting questions. We're here to talk to you. Like everything we do is still about making MSPs more secure and more productive. So we love the involvement, the feedback, everything. Thank you all for joining this webinar as well. So Robbie, Matteo, any closing words?
The last thing I wanted to say is, like, our internal motto is we're a product first company. My background as a co-founder is in engineering, software engineering. My business partner, he used to run an MSP. He's an IT tech like most of you. And so our background is not sales, but, marketing. And we want to lean on our strengths. And for that, we need you, right? We need your feedback. We need your involvement. And unlike many companies in some of this space, we do listen to our customers. We do try to understand and get in the technician's head, in their workflow, solving their problems, right? So what I ask you today is get involved in the Canny, get in touch with Robert, get in touch even with me or with Jim, my business partner. When you see a gap, when you see something that is not working, when you see an opportunity, right? I really want to build the best product in the market, bar none, for MSPs, for you guys. But I need your help, right? I need you guys to give us feedback and help us guide our product roadmap along your side. So that's what I say.
Well, thank you very much. And Robbie,
spoken like a true engineer geek.
And Robbie, thanks for answering all of the questions today. I know it's not easy trying to go through a demo, and I'm stopping you every 30 seconds. But with that, we'll close it out. Feel free to contact us, reach out. We're happy to answer any more questions anyone might have.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, guys.
Take care, everyone.
Everyone.